Watch Who?
Hello.
And welcome to Watch Who, a Doctor Who podcast. I'm Mark,
I'm Sarah,
and I'm a Doctor Who fan,
and I'm new to watching Who.
watching for the very first time.
Very first time.
And you join us, we're just about to set sail on the Tiger Moth. Are you ready to race?
I'm ready to race.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got my sails up or down. I don't know what. They keep going up and down, don't they?
I guess they do. Welcome,
We
everyone.
put them up, but they're too precious, so we put them down or something.
Something like that. We will set sail very soon, but we should record a podcast about Shakedown, Return of the Sontarans first, maybe.
Yeah, let's do that.
So, welcome back, everybody. We are slowly working our way through the wilderness years of Doctor Who, the 90s. We're up to 1994. But before we start that, I mean, I don't have that many updates, but it's very autumny at the moment. I mean, it's almost winter. It is pouring with rain outside. We're going to get ill.
Oh, we're so gonna get ill. I'm already ill, but it's waiting. It's waiting till half term.
We're ill and busy, and I feel like, I'm not sure if it's because we're doing the 90s and it is that sort of wilderness, we haven't got a set pattern, and we've sort of been recording a bit more ad hoc. It feels a bit I don't know, it just feels proper wilderness years. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we're not in our routine. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, it's a weird time, isn't it?
I think autumn, like this September, October always is a little bit because, well, September's the time you get back into routine. So we were quite good in September. And then we're getting into Christmas soon where things start picking up. So once after we've got Halloween coming up, so I look at my diary, things are getting a little bit, ooh. And then it'll start to like get a little bit raw.
Yes.
It's the rain for me. I just can't be bothered with rain. Hate rain. And I live in Wales. Just so much
But
rain.
it's also that time where you stay in and you just want to watch films and stuff. And
this is the best time for TV. I think this is the best time for TV. There's great TV on at the minute.
yeah, and and also we're talking about like more films. We're going back to our film podcast a bit here, where I'm making you watch like really weird films, if you can call Shakedown a film.
I mean, technically, yeah, it's not a series, so yeah, it's like a one-off little film, yeah.
It's weird, yeah. We're not like watching episodes of stuff. I don't know. It's just a weird time, and that just sums up the 90s of Doctor Who as well. All a bit ad hoc, weird. So there we are. We're following the 90s theme here, I think.
If we sound a bit croaky in the next few weeks, it's because we're ill. But it's definitely coming. I know I'm going to be ill. We talked about it this morning. Me and Mark, we had a call at like 7:30 this morning or whatever it was. 8:30, I don't know what time it was. And we were both like, we're both ill, but it hasn't come out yet. But it's coming.
And it's so funny, when I was doing that montage of all the different episodes, there was some when you were so ill. There's one, you're saying the titles, and then there's one where you're like, "Oh, to Doomsday." And you can hardly hear your voice. I was thinking, we had a whole series of early Fifth Doctor where you didn't have a voice at all.
I know, and I just kept going. People, like,
I think that we had to stop because you actually lost your voice, which was probably, I don't know when
I
it
lost
was,
my voice
actually.
properly for like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, it's that time again, so we'll look forward.
When I say, listeners, I lost my voice, for 10 days, I could not make a sound. It was proper bad.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, so well, let's hope we don't have that again. But anyway, should we talk about the story then? Let's get into today.
We should probably get onto that.
I was trying to think of a segue there, and I couldn't really think of it.
There isn't one, love. There isn't.
There wasn't.
Let's just get into it.
Let's go. Let's go. Actually, the only other thing, I started reading the Bonnie Langford murder mystery book.
Right.
I haven't had much time to read, but it's quite good so far.
Okay.
It's not very murder mystery though at the moment. It's not like your classic. It's her and Glitz on Ice World floating around in space at the moment. at the beginning. So,
Did she write this? What are you
well,
talking about?
you know that book that was coming out. It's a male murder mystery written by Bonnie Langford, well, with a ghostwriter.
Oh, I kind of forgot about this. Sorry. For a second, I didn't realize it was a Doctor Who thing. I thought you were just telling me Bonnie Langford wrote a murder mystery.
Well, she sort of did when it's male Doctor Who, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's all right so far. I'm only like really early in, so I'm trying to get through that one.
He definitely had a ghostwriter.
Oh no, yeah, it says with on the book title. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's nice to think that she tried. I'm sure she came up with the basics, Which also I forgot to look up. I will do that next time. What the first ever episode of Proro was. Need to do that. We need to do that, but I haven't done that this week. I was too busy watching.
That is
Shakedown.
autumn Christmas. That is autumn Christmas, like in a sin.
Oh, actually, there we go. Here's today's segue. Perfect. This is so good. Because this is a little bit like a murder mystery setup, sort of, in space. Enclosed area, few characters, they're all sort of being picked off one by one. Very basically, you could say that, couldn't you, about Shakedown?
Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I have like a few questions, but we'll get to that.
Okay, well, so this is a straight-to-video thing, 1994. It's never been re-released, so it is only out on video or on the tube of you. If you want to go online, give it a search on there, everyone. If you want to listen, if you want to watch it first before you listen along to this, it's out there. And I'm fine actually saying it's out there because you can't get it any other way.
Yeah,
That's my sort of sense on like copyright stuff, where if they're not making it available to you to buy, then you can find it online. I feel like that's perfectly legal because there's no other way to do it.
yeah.
That's how I justify these things. Like there's like TV shows and stuff where they take it off streaming or whatever and you can't get. It's like just put it up there so people can pay for it and get it if you want. And there's so many TV shows that people have to like illegally download because they're just not on streaming anymore. Anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Is this your 90s like missing episodes?
Oh, it's not that bad. Oh no, it's not that bad at all. No,
Okay.
I don't have particularly strong feelings.
Okay.
But I'm just saying I feel okay telling everyone to go out and find Shakedown online.
Yeah.
Right, so what was I talking about? Oh yes, and this, I mean, we said last week about the probe thing and Liz, and you're doing a spin-off, and they've set it in a hospital, and it's all on Earth, so it's easy for like budget and stuff. But here they haven't done that. They've tried to do something spacey, and I think it does work because
I think it works, yeah.
because they filmed on the Belfast. I don't know if you knew that. So this is all filmed on the HMS Belfast, which is on the River Thames, that ship.
Yeah, you did mention this. Did you say it was on the Cutty Sark? Why do I have that in my head?
That was Dimensions in Time. They were outside the Cutty Sark.
Oh, okay. I had Cutty Sark in my head, but go on.
So have you been on the Belfast at all? No?
No.
So do you know it's near Tower Bridge. It's a massive warship, and it's usually there. I looked up. It's been there since the 70s. I remember going on it as a child. It's like as I say, an old warship, and it's like been in actual wars and stuff. And when they were fighting, when they were out in World War Two, I don't think they ever imagined Carole Ford will be running around with a Sontaran down there. But it has actual seen real action. Everybody, this ship, the things it's seen, the Korean War, the making of Shakedown, everything,
Sexual tension, everything.
Yeah, but I think because they're doing that, everything looks quite. I mean, it's an old ship, so it's supposed to be a spaceship. It sort of looks authentic.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think, like the last time we actually saw a spaceship, because at the end of Doctor Who, they didn't go out into space very much. We had like the last spaceship we had was like Ice World shopping centre. I mean, and that was a bit similar with all metal girders and stuff. They didn't bother even attempting to do with the budget and stuff some spaceshipy stuff.
No.
And it could have gone really bad, like Prawn on a spaceship, 70s. But I think, and you got to think, there's no budget for this. They're on the Belfast filming for like maybe 2 weekends. It's open to the public above, so there's tourists and stuff clamping around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole time it's still open to tourists. And they're trying to make this film, and they're setting off explosions, and there's smoke and stuff down there. I'm like, how are they allowed to do any of this stuff?
It's the 90s, love. It's the 90s.
So that, I mean, they've got the ambition, and usually I would say tone your ambition down to what you can practically do. But I feel like they achieved both.
I think the weakest, if we're talking, is maybe the script. And actually, it's not that bad.
It's not bad at all. It's a very simple
Like,
script.
it's a very simple script, that's all. But it's not like, I think the actors are working with what they have. I think everyone does quite well. I think that's the weakest element, but I don't think the script is that weak. Yeah, I think it's quite good, actually.
And this
I've
week's...
seen weaker episodes of Doctor Who than I have of this, put it that way.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think this is sort of what Doctor Who in the 90s would look like even if the BBC made it.
Yeah, I agree.
A bit Red Dwarfish, when Red Dwarf goes on location and stuff. It felt a bit like that, just with the lighting and even the costumes and stuff. That's very like 90s Red Dwarf sort of thing.
Yeah, the little set models, everything like that.
So this week's legal IP is the Sontarans. That's all we've got from actual Doctor Who this time. They look amazing, I think. I mean, you remember them, don't you?
Yeah. Rock.
Yeah, because they...
Thumb Rock.
Thumb Rock, and they looked amazing when they first appeared in Sarah Jane's first story. We had links.
They're sort of like orangier now.
Yeah, and then as they went on, and then we last saw them in like the Two Doctors with the Sixth Doctor, and they looked awful. As they went on throughout Doctor Who, they looked terrible. But now they actually really look again like they stand up today. And I think, oh, I should have checked this fact, but I think it's the same guy that did the Destroyer, Kim Kardashian, the first and second Doctor in Dimensions in Time. I think it's the same guy, the Madame Tussaudsy guy. That does
right,
all the
I was going to say the Destroyer, Kim Kardashian.
The Destroyer and Kim Kardashian and the first and second Doctor's floating heads the other time as well. I think it's all the same guy who does all these creature effects. So he's so talented. He's great. I mean, there he is on the HMS Belfast. And then he's sculpting Kim Kardashian 20, 30 years later.
Yeah, why not?
Well, actually, no, he's doing Shooting Atwa at Madame Tussauds as well, probably. I mean, I've totally just made all this up that he's doing all this. I'm pretty sure that he is part of Madame Tussauds somehow.
You'd hope so now that you've quoted him as such. Someone will tell you not. Don't worry, someone will tell you.
Although I don't think he did the Kylie Minogue one because that was terrible. I can't remember if I said that before. The Kylie Minogue waxwork does not look like her at all. At all.
There's one or two that are pretty bad out there.
Because they used to have her. I've seen an 80s one of her and a 90s one. They look like her, but this new one of her, I don't know. Unless it was actually Ariana Grande. Could have been Ariana Grande. No, I think it was supposed to be Kylie Minogue. Anyway, it didn't look like either of them. So, you're good at Sontarans, but you're not good at Kylie Minogue.
I'm going to have to look up whether it's Kylie Minogue or Ariana Grande now.
I mean, they would have Kylie Minogue in Madame Tussauds. Anyway, so the Sontarans look good. So we've got the Tiger Moth, which is supposed to be like the equivalent of a really posh sailing yacht, but in space. And that is setting sail. And we have our captain, Lisa Duran, the captain lady and the guy, the main guy in it.
Yeah.
They're not from Doctor Who. They're from another show called Blake Seven, which is Doctor Who, which is a Terry Nation show that he made in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
And it's sort of popular with Doctor Who fans. It sort of was made at the same time, both sci-fi 70s.
I've heard of it, actually.
Yeah. Terry Nation's Blake Seven. And of course, Terry Nation in style. He started it off. He wrote the first 6 episodes. Got all the credit and then went off to do something else, and it carried on without him, but it was still Terry Nation's Blake Seven. Typical Terry. We know Terry by now. That's what he does. Thinking about it, Terry Nation did a lot of series, and no wonder he's proper living it up in
well, yeah,
America.
That's what some people do.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're there doing the same thing as these Doctor Who people are doing. They're there for the Blake Seven fans or the Doctor Who fans. So Lisa Duran, I thought she was really good, actually. She's a great
she's
actress.
Really good. Yeah, she is really good.
She's great. And we first see her with the engineer guy who's not in it very much. He's the first one that gets killed. He's that... he is the original Davros in the Fuck You chair.
Yeah, yeah.
He was also Sergeant Benton's dad in the wartime one.
Okay. He had an American accent in this, didn't he?
I think so. I'm not sure what he
Supposed
was
to have an
trying.
American accent in it, but and I was trying to think you didn't have it. Davros didn't have an American accent.
No, no. I think he's putting on. Or it was sort of either American or Cornish. I couldn't tell.
Engineer to Captain, we are being fired on by an unknown vessel.
Are we hit?
Minor sail damage. I think it was a warning shot.
I'm on my way. Stay here, all of you.
It was one of those.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be American.
But he's quite good. But he's just sort of a secondary. He's not in it very much. Maybe he wasn't available for like the whole filming time. Oh, but also I'm keeping a tally, everybody, and I'm including the Sergeant Benton one as well. I'm doing a tally of which Doctor Who actors appear in all of these films, so we can see who's done the most over in the in the spin-off
I
time.
can guess now that it's probably Ace, but go on.
She's winning so far with 3 because she's been in,
Yeah.
she's been in all so far.
So far it's Ace.
I can't believe you just know that.
She's been in all 3. I mean, it's pretty good going so far.
Okay. Well, this guy's got 2 so far because he was in 2. So she's like hired by this group of people to be like their captain, and they're gonna win this race. Great. And then the problem I have though is also it's supposed to be a luxury yacht, and I know I've said it's like they've done really well with the set, but luxury it's not. Like it's a trestle table with a white tablecloth. And that is their sort of set dressing, and like a radio in the background. It's one of those 90s like see-through sort of CD players that would have been like brand new at the time. You could get from like Argos or whatever. And curly straws with around the things.
Oh my gosh, it's so 90s.
It's so 90s. All they needed, I mean, they could have got
Those
those.
straws were amazing but disgusting.
What do you mean?
They were amazing. Do you remember the curly straws?
Yeah.
But like the germs in those straws, you couldn't clean them.
I mean, I would have used one at some point in the 90s, but I can't remember how
I
hygienic
remember
they were.
having one. I had one and Mickey sat on it or something like that. And like,
Hang on, Mickey did what?
now, Mickey sat on it. He sat on. He sat. Oh.
I thought that was someone you knew.
I thought you thought I said Mickey shat on it or something. No, so he had the curls, and then like the straw went up, and then he's holding on to the top bit, and he sat on like the curly bit.
Because it was in a big like plastic cup with a curly thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I had the Lady Penelope one.
there you go.
Yeah, no.
Of course, you had a Lady Penelope.
I think I won it at a party. Anyway, so it's all
But yeah,
very
you know-
90s.
Yeah, oh, they were just that. I can see it now. It was like a red straw, and thinking about it, there were bits that were brown.
Yeah.
But it was
yeah.
cool to drink out of, you know?
It looked very cool, yeah.
It looked cool.
Well,
But the
I mean,
germs are the germs.
you couldn't have one of those nowadays. Like, you could, like, no
Well,
plastics.
now when you get your reusable straws, they come with straw cleaners. Your bendy straws did not come with straw cleaners.
But this is a luxury yacht. I'm sure they've got straw cleaners. I'm sure they have. But they could have even had, they should have just had and gone all the way and had inflatable plastic cushions to make it.
Oh, yeah, if you're
You know,
doing it, go for it.
if you're
Go
going to do
full
for it,
mountain.
do all of that. They could have had those sunflowers that dance when they hear sounds. They could have done the whole lot and made it proper 90s luxury. But no, it's just a trestle tablecloth, which the amount of... Did you have to iron a lot of those?
What, trestle tablecloths?
The white tablecloths, did you iron them a lot? I
No,
remember
God,
ironing
no,
them a
Mark.
lot.
Mark, no. Let's just
I-
be really clear. I did not iron those tablecloths. You did. I did not iron those tablecloths.
Because we hired them in for like events and stuff, didn't we?
Yeah.
But then we had some like that we
We did
kept
have
at the
some as
venue.
like backup, yeah.
Because I had to take them home and wash them and then try and iron them. And they were so tough to iron.
Why were you taking them home to wash? We had a washing machine and a dryer.
Oh no, not all the time. Not all the time.
We had a washing machine and we had a drying system. We had a washing machine. We had tea towels, Mark.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
We
I
had
had to take...
like t-shirts and clothes.
Anyway, I was ironing a lot. I've ironed a lot of those white tablecloths. I just saw it and I was like, oh, God.
No, I was
doing
not
that.
ironing our tablecloths, but I know you were.
So then we have, so in this luxury area with the white
I'm just getting the
tablecloth,
higher ones in. Anyway, continue.
they're expensive as well. In this luxury area, sitting around a white tablecloth, trestle table, we have, well, let's start, Carole Ford.
Oh my gosh, who does she remind me of?
I mean, she's supposed to be playing a sort of space bitch fashion. She's called, is it Zarel fashion? She's supposed to be.
You know, Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
She's like all the witches rolled into one.
Yeah.
It's camp and brilliant. It's ridiculous.
Oh,
I did love how campy. Initially, I was like, what? And then I was like, it's so camp. I love it.
I think she's enjoying playing something like that. Whether she can or not is another question, but she's loving it. So
Yeah. I think she's having a great time. It's so different to like being Susan.
I built up my design business till it covers 3 planets.
And the kids back home have raided their grandmother's wardrobes and made the name of Zarel fashionable again. Almost.
Well, darling, looking at you, I can see that your little planet needs all the help it can get.
She's loving it. She gets some great dramatic moments. She's loving it.
and she, like, our next Clothes Watch award should be sponsored by Zarel Fashion, I think. That she's remember this for the Clothes Watch.
You know I will forget, but you try and remember it or make a note.
So she's there and she's like, oh, you know, being the space bitch. And then we've got Sophie Aldred as Mari, who's sort of like, I think supposed to be a bit sort of Paris Hilton rich daughter.
They say her father, she's like, her father's the owner of
Like
something.
the yacht company or something like that.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, she is in, I don't know if you saw, talk like Clothes Watch, her dress is like a sort of, did you see like that thing, the sort of lampshade thing she's in at the, when
The
she's in,
lampshade thing.
it's like a dress, and then at the bottom it's like it's like pulled down like a lampshade on her feet. I don't know. It's only in a couple of shots, but I'll have to send you a picture. It's amazing, proper like 90s.
I mean,
fashion.
I didn't think any of them were bad. I'm just intrigued what you meant by lampshade. I never thought any. When you say lampshade, it makes me think of something terrible. So I'm trying to think. I thought all the outfits looked great. So
No, anyway, I'll show you it. It's like a weird lampshade dress thing. Anyway, proper amazing Clothes Watch for those two. And then we've got Mari's boyfriend, who is all right. He's just there as an extra person. I feel like it's a bit like that Agatha Christie, where you've got a lot of people, and some are just sort of extras to be killed off.
he's just there as like doting on her.
And then we've got our other main guy. Oh, what was his name? Can't remember his name. He's the main guy.
He's the main guy, Mark.
And he's good as well. He's all right.
Yeah.
I
He
mean,
plays it well.
I mean, in terms of like all the acting, I think they all hold it together. And Carole Ford is just there as well, just doing her thing.
I think she's all right in it. I think she plays camp very well. She plays it so camp and over the top. Like, I think if you're going to commit to being over the top, you've got to be over the top. And she does it.
She definitely livens it up. She
There
definitely
are
makes
points, like initially when I saw her in that makeup, I didn't even recognize it was her. I thought it was a drag queen. Right? And I kind of like, and then I was like, oh my gosh, no, it's Susan. But initially, the makeup, everything about it is so over the top.
They could have got a drag queen to play that part. That
Could
would
have got a drag
amazing.
queen to play it.
That
But
would
it
have
is
been
that
brilliant.
sort of like, it's sort of like panto villain performance, and I quite like it.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but in that scene as well, that's when we learn who they are. I mean, it's quite functional dialogue. They're like, oh, but you're the someone's daughter. I got my, I do the fashion, all that. It's all a bit, it could have been ironed out a little bit more. But hey, I mean,
It's
the writer.
functional. The script is functional, and I think everyone is just trying to make it work. I think they're all doing very well.
I mean, this is written by the guy who did all the scripts and stuff for the third Doctor in John Pertwee's time, so it's a writer they're bringing back. And then he wrote the book of this afterwards. It came out as a 90s adventure, but with the Seventh Doctor in it. So the way he wrote it was the beginning of the book was the Seventh Doctor and some of the characters, and then the middle section of the book was this film, and then once they head off at the end, they meet up with the Doctor again, and there's the rest of the thing, because obviously with the book they had the license to do it as a Doctor Who story, but with the film came first and they couldn't. So there's like the middle bit of this book is literally this film, and then either side is the Seventh Doctor. It's so weird. So yeah, I mean the story basically, they're there, and then the Sontarans are looking for the Rutan, which is the green thing. So do you remember that we did see the green blob in actual Doctor Who?
So do they have permission for this?
They've got permissions for the Sontarans and the Rutans. So yeah, I mean it's the same guy that made both of them, so it's fine. So the green thing, do you remember the one in the lighthouse with the green blob?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so that's what that's supposed to be. And they could take over people and duplicate them and stuff like that.
I remember the great jumper in the lighthouse one.
Yeah, that's it. Leela's jumper. Yeah. I couldn't remember what.
That was a great clothes match.
Yes, yeah. Never forget that jumper. You need that in this kind of weather. That's a proper winter jumper.
That'd be such a good jumper in this weather.
Yeah. So that is on board, and that's why the Sontarans are after them. And that's why they come on board, because they think the Rutan is on board, which it is. So it's a bit alien, inspired, that kind of thing. Actually, before that, I forgot, there's the VR bit where they're sort of doing the solar sails, which we've talked about and stuff.
Which, look, I think it works really well, actually. It's just a nice way of showing an effect, but it is effective. I think it's a bit long, but by a bit long, I think it's about 2 minutes too long.
Well, yeah, I really love that, because this is where you've got a good director or whoever's deciding this stuff, because we haven't got an actual spaceship. We're on a real ship. We haven't got any of the space stuff. We don't need to bring in space buttons and screens, and we don't really... I mean, the model work is great, but we don't have, the effects. So do it as VR. I mean, and VR, ahead of its time...
Yeah. I think it's really effective, and I liked how you could it shows us the audience then what we see. The
bit that's sort of awful again. Sorry, Caroline Ford, is where she's like doing that sort of catwalk moment, and then Sophie Aldred's like bitch, because she's supposed to be in this glamorous. She's in like a green jumpsuit, which is supposed to be like glamorous, but it's got a bit of humour in it as well, which I quite like. Do they actually pull it off or not? I'm not sure, but I think that's so creative, doing that VR stuff. We love VR. We always appreciate VR, and it's ahead of its time. Me
and Mark have had a good night out on VR.
Yeah, VR's great.
Not much of it, but we did experience it drunk.
We need Shakedown, the VR experience. You can go around the ship. You can pull all those things.
And next Oscars, you can experience your own Shakedown VR. But you too can pull a rope.
and so that's when the Sontarans come in, and this is where they're doing smoke bombs. They're doing everything. There is, I don't know if you noticed, there is a no smoking sign still stuck up, obviously, which is on the Belfast with the classic.
I noticed that.
So the Sontarans are like walking in, and it's there. I mean, obviously they're not allowed to move it or whatever while they're filming.
There's no smoking areas on ships even now. Hey, in the future, no smoking policies are even more important. So
the actual Sontarans, I mean, I never like space talk and all that kind of stuff. It was a bit weird though that they made them sort of comedy again. There was that sort of silly one, and then the captain's like, "Oh God,"
Yeah, I found some of that a little bit paddingy. Not Paddington, padding. A bit of padding, padding-y. I mean, fine. I think it was just like you said before about adding a little bit of humour to it. I don't think it was needed.
Because at the end of the day, all it is the Sontarans come on board looking for the Rutan. Some people die. They keep them prisoner, and then...
Well, here's something I didn't understand. I didn't understand that they were coming for the Rutan, because they said at the start, they said, we've got to find the one that let us... Oh, there's one of them that knows about what we're trying to do, and we need to destroy him first or something, they said.
Which would be the Rutan, I think. Maybe it's got their war information.
I didn't understand it as that. I thought that they were planning to take over the ship because they just like war, and that's what they do. And they had planned with someone, and you didn't know who. And I thought it was going to be they were going to work with they had worked with someone, and that person would get killed first because they know what their full plan is. And then they discovered the Rutan because they went to go and find the engineer, and that's when they discovered the engineer and one of their soldiers, and that's when they discovered the Rutan. And then they were like, we're not going to kill you because we need to work with you.
I think they know that there's a Rutan in that area, but they don't know what ship it's on. And they said they were going to just go on every single ship until they found it and like destroy them. And then they just happened to come across the Tiger Moth, I think. So I think they did know it was a Rutan ship. A Rutan was around, and it had certain information that they needed to like stop it. I think that's what it is. I know. I mean, I wasn't really listening.
Because how did the Rutan get on? Was it there the whole time as one of the members?
No, it's not one of the members. I think it just came on as its own. It takes
over the engineer.
Yeah, I think it's just hiding in the ship.
On?
Oh God. Okay, I'm just going to look up what it says to see. Oh, there's a fault. So there are irregular fluctuations in the ship's power system. She says that, doesn't she, at the beginning?
Yeah. Is that how it gets in?
I think that's the Rutan getting on board, and then that's when they get taken over by the thing. So I think, she said there's something wrong with the ship. So I think they've taken off and it's already on board, and it's caused these power fluctuations. Steg explains that he's on a mission to find a shape-shifting Rutan spy. Yeah. The Sontarans track the Rutan to Space Station Alpha, Tiger Moth's last port of call, so they are now searching every vessel that left there recently. There we go. So it got on board when they were at the service station. I hope that has explained that for everybody listening. But I mean, it doesn't slow. I didn't feel like it was very padding-y. It just carried on. I mean, it doesn't outstay its welcome at like 50 minutes. It just gets on with it, introduces the characters. You see the Sontarans. Doctor Who fans want to see the Sontarans, and they look cool. And it's a bit of a mystery because it takes over the engineer. Who's it going to take over next? Who is it shapeshift? I mean, it's all obvious. There's not much depth in terms of there's somebody the audience doesn't know what's going on. The audience always knows what's going on and who it is. They could have made a bit of more of a mystery of it, maybe. And then, because when it takes over, so the first person to die is the boyfriend, but that's because of the Sontarans. And you've got to show that Sontarans are like going to kill people and ruthless and stuff. Yeah. I mean, there's all that dialogue about being sexually pair bonded with each other and stuff.
All of that is so weird and unnecessary and so 90s. And I think it's just someone embracing the fact it's not on the BBC.
That is, again, another what the Doctor Who books were like, Dodo, all of that. That's what the 90s Doctor Who books were. I was trying to think, though. They don't say sexually pair bonded in the Sarah Jane one, do they? It's not actually in
Sarah Jane one.
In the actual Sontaran story. He doesn't say that in the first one. No, they wouldn't say that.
It's a BBC, Mark.
I know, but it's like aliens.
It's a children's show on the BBC. They're not going to say sexually pair bonded. Of course they're not.
Well, they might.
In the 70s, still, no.
So, I mean, it fits with a Sontaran dialogue, but no. I mean, there's too much sexually pair bondedness going on there. And then, so then the next person to die actually is Sophie Aldred, Mari. She doesn't actually do a lot.
No, she doesn't. She has an easy ride in this. Maybe she was only available for one day of filming.
I mean, I like the idea that you've got the first and last companions together. Maybe they were going for that in terms of, do you know what I mean? In terms of the actors for like the Doctor Who people to watch. But, considering she would be the current companion, they've not made her the main star. They've not made her. she's all right. She doesn't do a lot because then she gets killed straight away by the Rutan thing. I mean, and then she kills Carole Ford.
I feel like it's more about the Blake 7 actors in this than the Doctor Who.
I feel like those two hold it together.
For sure.
And show up the Doctor Who actors a little bit.
They really do. Yeah, the first one's the engineer guy getting killed. Then her partner, and the other one left is Carole Ford.
Yeah, I mean, and she gets drunk and then doesn't notice that Mari is a Rutan. And then it's all about the two Blake Sevens.
Which is fine, because they're really good in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would recommend this just as a low-budget site, like, without any of the Doctor Who connections or anything. It doesn't matter at all. It's just a nice sort of little short sci-fi low-budget
if you
film.
Want, what was it, 55 minutes? 55, 56 minute. You've got an hour. You want to watch something that feels spacey. It's not Doctor Who, but it's spacey. This would be it, I think. And some faces that you'd recognise. This would be it.
Because the captain was originally, according to Wikipedia, was originally going to be played by Elizabeth Sladen, Sarah Jane.
Ah, okay. That would have been really different.
I don't think she would have pulled it off. I don't think...
I think she would have pulled it off.
Not as a space captain like that. I just don't think it would have worked. I'm really glad she didn't do it. Because I think this lady that does... The Blake 7 lady, Lisa... Well, not Lisa, but she plays Lisa. I think she does it really well. And I don't think... I think you would have just seen Sarah Jane, and I don't think she could play someone like that. Because she needs a bit of a harder edge to it.
I think she could, though. I think she could. I think she's quite... I think because you only see her as Sarah Jane. And I think that's why a lot of the actors enjoy playing other things in this.
But I don't know. I like it how...
Would you have imagined Susan being a camp drag queen?
Well, yeah, probably. Oh, dear.
No, I didn't. Not that on my bingo card.
No, I can't drag queen. This is before she started watching Neighbours, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And before she said hi to my dad.
Well, maybe she was inspired by Neighbours and the drama of it.
Yeah, maybe that's what she was channeling, and it all sort of finishes quite quickly, doesn't it, the story where the Rutan... when she turns into a Rutan, she does Rutan acting quite well.
She does Rutan really well. That last scene with her, she's really good in that. When it's really serious and dramatic, and that scene between the two of them is really good.
I take it that Mari and the real Zarel are dead as well.
Death is inevitable in war. Do not try to harm me.
Because then it's about to go, and then there's a bomb, which the Sontarans were going to blow up the ship anyway. Blah, blah, blah. They blow up the Rutan, and the Sontaran leaves, doesn't he? Does he leave? Yeah, he leaves. He's the last one standing, isn't it?
The Sontaran? No, he's dead on the floor, love.
Oh, yeah, he gets shot, doesn't he? Yeah. He's about to leave, and then he gets shot. And then we've got our couple of the 90s.
Yeah, and it turns out, what's his name's the sole person, and are they going to be sexually pair bonded or whatever? They have a weird discussion about that.
There we go. I'm writing them down.
I was like, oh.
Our first couple of the 90s.
Yeah, you can have that one.
So Shakedown is giving us lots of Oscars categories, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
It's giving us lots of great moments. And I think this is one of the better productions. I mean, it's not the same people that made, like, the Liz Shaw ones. This is a different company. It's... I mean... And when you think of the pressure they must have been under and the no budget of doing a couple of days on this ship, and to create something like that that's actually pretty decent.
It is pretty decent, yeah. Like I said, I feel like the weakest part is the script, but it's not awful.
I mean, if this could have been on like Channel 5 at like 1 o'clock in the morning, sort of thing, do you know what I mean? When they put like B movies and stuff on, you know, that kind of thing. I would not, if I was just channel hopping and that came up, I'd be like, I wouldn't think.
If I was a bit drunk and it was on, I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Carole Ford needs her own series of being a camera drag queen in space.
What was the character's name again?
Hang on. Because I think the fashion label is called Zarel, and Oh yeah, no,
with
she
the
is.
background
She
to
is.
Zarel's
Yeah,
fashion.
yeah. It's Zarel's. It's Zarel. Yeah.
It's Zarel's world.
Oh, there we go. So actually, not too bad. So, are you like? I mean, we were only at the beginning of the 90s, really. But how are
We've
you
done
finding?
what, 3?
But I mean, it's not. It's so different, isn't it? But it's also we're going into a whole different decade of like TV and film. Even when in the 90s, it's not the 80s anymore. It's the biggest change in TV, I think. Because like 60s to 70s, it was like colour and stuff. 70s to 80s was a bit more technology. But I feel like this is where I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to just be. I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know, I think it feels very 90s, but in like it just feels very 90s. But it's interesting, I guess, how we were. I guess what you're trying to say is because this is fan made, so you're starting to see with technology where it's at this point where it's more accessible for people what can be done and budgets and stuff like that.
Yeah. And if you were a fan at
Like
the time,
nowadays, it's even more accessible. You can make a film on your phone. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if there was no Doctor Who now, the things that people would be making, these straight to video, DVD, straight online stuff would be completely. I mean, there are a few. There are a few still being made now recently. In this same way, even though Doctor Who's back on. But if you're a fan and it's the early 90s and there's nothing else to watch, you would have definitely got this, I'm sure. And it's quite highly regarded, I think, as a. I don't know why. It must be copyright or something. Why it's not come out on DVD or anything? Because I'd love to watch
They made so many, and they just made that money, and that was, and maybe it was part of the agreement with the actors and the Belfast.
Yeah, maybe. I just all the others have come out on DVD again and again, and I feel like I'd love to watch this in clear picture rather than like grainy VHS. That's the only thing, because it's actually one of the best out there. So I do recommend this one, guys. Anyway, there we go. A successful one then. Good. Well done. It's not like, in comparing to doing these films to the books ones we did, what is the struggle?
So far, all right, but then everything's been like 1 hour.
I think they're going to get shorter anyway. I don't think they're even up to an hour now. So it's more like the running time than the actual content.
At the minute, yeah, because it's been enjoyable. I did this. Well, to be fair, you sent me the thing and it was an hour 45, and I didn't realize it was behind the scenes. So I did 45 minutes, and then thought, oh, I've got the rest to watch, and it turned out I had 10 minutes left. I'd have finished it if I'd have known I only had 10 minutes. I was thinking, oh, I'll do half, and then I'll try and do the other half.
Well, I'll tell you where we're going next.
Go on. I feel nervous.
We're moving on a year. We're now to 1995.
Right.
Oh, by the way, as well, I should tell you as well, we do have a legitimate actual Doctor Who coming up. We do meet the 8th Doctor in the 90s.
Okay, that's coming.
I've never actually told you that, have I? So that will be coming up soon. So it's not all just spin-offs. There is an actual, real, officially licensed on the BBC Doctor Who. But we're not there yet. We're up to 1995, and we're back to Liz Shaw Investigates.
Hey!
The follow-up to the smash hit Zero, the blockbuster, the Zero Imperative that smashed all box office records.
I enjoyed the first one.
Yes, yeah, you did. I mean, that's probably like. Anyway, so this one is called The Devil of Winterbourne, and it's about 40 minutes, I think. I don't think it's that long. So it's another probe.
I enjoy a probe. That's a clip that Mark will use as our.
Yeah, I enjoy a probe. This episode's either called. No, it can't be called I Enjoy a Probe because it's about Shakedown.
No, but you know when you choose when you chose for the thing, that's what you'll choose. Enjoy a probe.
Well, everyone, give Shakedown a go if you haven't.
Where can you find us, Mark?
Oh, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at 2WatchWho.
Are we still on Twitter?
We are.
Still doing Twitter?
You can also support us at buymeacoffee.com/2WatchWho. There we are, and we'll see you very soon for The Devil of Winterbourne.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
2 Watch Who.